rise for the honorable judge. Good morning. You may be seated. First order of business, a separate piece by John Knowles.
Thank you. Separate Piece is a coming-of-age story following Gene Forrester as he discusses the finding of his identity throughout the summer, along with the battle of inner fears and uncertainties present with drama surrounding Gene's intended infliction upon Finney's leg. It is found that this book shows a moral of taking self-responsibility for one's actions.
A common occurrence in this book is LGBT tendencies between Finn and Gene. Many readers find that they are disgusted by this as it goes against their Christian beliefs. First challenged by the Vernon Sherrill New York School District, they say this book is a filthy sex novel that should be not exposed to our youth.
Your Honor, one of the biggest benefits of A Separate Piece is its relatability to modern-day students through the theme of identity. While Gene was reminiscing about Finney's death, he thinks, "I did not cry then or ever about Finney. I did not cry, even when I stood watching him being lowered into his family's straight-laced burial ground outside of Boston. I could not escape a feeling that this was my own funeral," showing that Gene had been so caught up in being like Finney, he didn't even realize that he didn't have his own identity anymore. Nearly all students have at one point in their life experienced a lust for another's lifestyle and have tried to alter their own identity to be more like the person they are jealous of. In addition to the relatability and the use of a flashback to tell the story, this story can prompt discussion on the effect of the way the story is told because of the point of view of the narrator. Lastly, although the novel A Separate Piece was published in 1959, the language and dialect of the novel provide a fine readability for the average high school student. A Separate Piece should not be banned and belongs in every school library around the nation as its relatability, readability, and teachability far outweigh the outdated negative connotation of homosexuality in the novel.
Has the jury reached a decision?
Yes, Your Honor, we have. We find that this book should not be banned as it relates to the modern day teenager, as it helps them find their identity in this growing climate of LGBTQ rights and other such causes.
Case adjourned. The book is not banned. The next case is about the novel One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. The case of One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest follows the story of Chief and his imprisonment inside a mental institute. Chief is a patient who pretends to be deaf and dumb to avoid drawing attention to himself. The prosecution today is an attempt to ban this book due to its explicit content and imagery of influenced suicide and sexual assault.
In 1995, the text was first removed in Randolph, New York, and Alton, Oklahoma. Critics claim this book to contain pornographic content and that it glorifies criminal activity, as it has a tendency to corrupt juveniles, contain descriptions of bestiality, bizarre violence, torture, dismemberment, death, and human elimination. Due to inhumane events such as lobotomies to the troubled patients, unclothing the nurse wretched, and the suicide of Cheswick, we find this book is completely unnecessary to get across the common theme of sanity versus insanity.
Your Honor, a problem with the challenging of this book has to do with the content that strengthens the theme. This is exemplified in the punishments and how Nurse Ratched had pressured and indirectly influenced multiple patients to commit suicide. This further strengthens the theme as these patients who are deemed mentally unstable are being controlled by a figure who is resembled as normal and qualified to the Institute's standards. However, the reader finds that this normal figure holds evil intentions and is seemingly more unfit for society than some of the patients are. Parents immediately omit the theme due to the graphic content and do not take into account how this is necessary to create a deeper knowledge of the topic. Your Honor, the defense would like to call Ricky Bobby to the stand.
Do you swear in the Gentleman's Bible?
Yes, I do.
Mr. Bobby, can you please read the excerpt on page 12?
Yes, I will. Chronics are divided into walkers like me, can still get around if they keep them fed in wheelers and vegetables. What the chronics are, or most of us, are machines with flaws inside that can't be repaired, flaws born in or flaws beaten over so many years, the guy running ahead into solid things that by the time the hospital found him, he was bleeding rust in some vacant lot.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Has the jury reached a decision?
Yes, Your Honor, we have. We find that this book should be banned due to the unnecessary graphic content that has no part in overweighing the theme of the developing book.
The One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo Nest is now officially banned. Oh, okay. The next case is Go Ask Alice. Contemporary text Go Ask Alice is the found diary of a 15-year-old girl named Alice. After a drink was spiked with LSD at a party, she spiraled into a vicious cycle of addiction and rehabilitation. Ending with Alice having a bad trip from being drugged by her old friends, resulting in mental damage, which sends Alice to a psychiatric hospital. Alice returns home from the hospital fully rehabilitated. She ends her diary on an optimistic outlook on life, but 3 weeks later Alice dies of a drug overdose, although the details are unknown.
We find this book is completely unneeded in the school system, as it may influence the reader to go out and perform such actions as drugging other teens and doing terrible things to their peers. Along with this, in the book contains a lot of graphic content, such as drugs and rape. We find this is exemplified on December 3rd, when Alice writes, "I remember wondering why we were getting high, when they had sat us out on the low, wonderful low. And it was until later I realized that them dirty... Judge, can I say the bitch word?
No.
Dirty sons of biscuits had taken turns raping us and threatening us sadistically and brutally."
Your Honor, although Go Ask Alice may not apply to every student, the novel cannot be removed from the entire school system. I mean, this is a real-life true story after all, so if any student can relate to Alice's story or benefit from it, it's the school system's responsibility to keep it. Go Ask Alice should not be banned from the school system in order to further the students' cognitive abilities.
Jury, have you reached a decision?
Nah, Chief, we're gonna take this book off the public shelf. It's just like has no place in a public setting.
Go Ask Alice is officially removed from all school systems. The next case is Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. In Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, a boy goes on a journey to decode a potential message from his late father, who lost his life on 9/11. The boy Oscar questions his existence of his journey as he deals with the grief of numerous tragedies in his family, all while teaching significant life lessons on dealing with the loss of loved ones.
Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close should be banned for 3 main things: morbidity, sexuality, and violent scenes. I like to call up Ricky Bobby to the scene.
See.
Dun, dun, dun.
Chapter 13, Oscar.
I thought about all the things that everyone ever says to teach others, and how everyone is going to die, whether it's in a millisecond or days or months or 76.5 years. If you were just born, everything that's born has to die, which means our lives are like skyscrapers. The smoke rises at different speeds, but they're all on fire, and we're all trapped, just like 9/11.
Your Honor, throughout the novel, Oscar deals with death and grief, which are topics that, tragically, everyone must face. Another ever-present thematic topic in the novel is life and the nature of existence. As Oscar withstands immense death and grief, he questions the meaning of life and his existence. Reading about another person's journey to discover the meaning behind their life provides a priceless learning experience for students and teachers alike. These thematic topics relate to everyone and provide numerous teaching moments in which educators can enrich their students on valuable life lessons and morals while comparing a common student's life to the life of Oscar and the journey he encounters.
Jury, have you reached a conclusion?
Yes, we have found that this book should not be banned because death is a topic that many people must face every day, such as the loss of a loved one or a family pet.
This novel will not be banned in public schools. The final trial will be on The Novel Art of Racing in Rain, a heart-wrenching but deeply funny and ultimately uplifting story of family, love, loyalty, and hope. The Art of Racing in the Rain is a beautifully crafted and captivating look at the wonders and absurdities of human life, as only a dog could tell it.
We find this book should be banned. As the owner does not want to put down his dog and making him suffer.
Your Honor, families lose pets every day, so in a sense, this work can comfort readers in similar situations by providing the perspective of the beloved animal. The Art of Racing in the Rain has a reasonable place in the classroom as it can provide a mechanism for coping with loss.
Jury, have you reached a decision?
Yes, we have found that this book should not be banned because people deal with the death of their family pet all the time, and this book is a mechanism for helping them cope with this loss.
The Art of Racing the Rain is not banned. All may rise. The court is now dismissed.